Welcome, y'all. My name is Laura. Thank you so much for joining me for this quick yoga snack where we'll be working from some standing hip opening postures. We're going to be working Warrior 2 and Triangle Pose. And all you'll need is space where you can stretch out your arms and your legs. First, come standing and look down at your 2 feet and place them underneath your hips. Fan out through your toes and let yourself see and feel your feet pressing down into the floor. As you push your feet down into the floor, feel the muscles in your legs kind of light up and lift. And then stretch your fingertips down towards the floor as well. And against that downward reach of your fingertips, lift your heart and the crown of your head up. Right? This is mountain pose, Tadasana in Sanskrit. Right? Breathe in and breathe out here. Feel yourself arriving and standing tall. Right? You're going to memorize this feeling of support and strength in your legs. Place your hands on your hips and step your right foot a little bit wider, and then your left foot a little bit wider than your hips. And then feel for those Tadasana strengthening actions in your legs again. Fan out through your toes, push your feet down. Feel the muscles above your kneecaps lift. Feel your inner thighs and your outer hips draw in towards each other. And with your hands on your hips, press down and lift your chest and the crown of your head up. And then breathe again. In your nose and maybe out your nose. Slow, steady breaths. In again. Out again. Feel your feet on the floor. Yeah? Okay, look down. And then heel toe this time. Your right foot out a little bit wider. Your left foot out a little bit wider. And just make sure for yourself here that you can still feel that Tadasana strength, that mountain pose strength in your feet and in your legs. Place your hands on your hips, lift your chest. If you don't feel that still, bring your feet a little closer together. Yeah? Press your hands down into your hip bones, lift your chest. Breathe in and breathe out. Yeah? Okay. Now, with your right leg, turn your right toes, knee, and thigh out. That action comes from your hips. So turn your thigh bone all the way out until your toes face the short end of your mat. Now, look back at your left heel or left foot and see if you can line up your right heel with your left center arch. Now, I've got some like striations on my mat that help me line that up. You could use the back edge of your mat like such to help you line up your feet. Or if you're on maybe like a wood floor or tile floor that's got like little grooves in it, you could line yourself up that way, right? Or you could not fuss with it. With your hands on your hips, push your right foot down and forward. Breathe in and lift your heart well. And then as you breathe out, watch your knee, bend your knee deeply over your ankle and keep turning your thigh out. So you'll still feel these muscles on the inside edge of your leg lengthening. Yeah? And then push your right foot down and forward, straighten your leg again. Turn your right leg in. And let's turn your left leg out this time. All right, do what you got to do to line up your left heel with the center of your back arch, your right arch. With your hands on your hips, lift your chest. Can you still feel that strength from Tadasana, from mountain pose? Push your feet down, lift your heart up. Now look at your knee. Bend your left knee deeply until it comes over your left ankle, and then stamp down into the sole of your foot. Rotate your thigh out until the inseam of your left leg lengthens. Then keep your head over your shoulders and your shoulders over your hips. Breathe in and breathe out here. And so this is the Warrior 2 shape in your legs. And then pressing your left foot down and forward, you'll straighten your left leg, and we'll go back to the first side and add the arms. Turn your left leg in. Turn your right leg out again. Breathe in with your hands on your hips, with your head over your shoulders over your hips. Lift your heart. Inhale. Look at your knee as you exhale and bend your right knee deeply. All right. Stamp your right foot down, turn your right leg out until the inseam of your leg lengthens, and then from your heart, stretch out through your arms with your palms facing the floor. Breathe in, lift your chest, and as you exhale, turn your gaze over your right middle finger. So you can imagine with your feet, right, you got right heel and back center arch lined up. And imagine that your arm bones line up over the bones of your legs, stretching out an extension from your heart. And bring your hands onto your hips for the transition into triangle pose. Go with me here. Push your right foot down and forward. And with your hands on your hips, feel your left hip lift as your right leg straightens. You can try that again with me if you'd like. Go back to the bent knee situation with your shoulders over your hips. Push your right foot down and forward. Let your left hip lift and your right hip cut in. Right, you're already there. From here, place your right hand on your right thigh, open your chest. You stay right here or bring your hand down onto your shin if that's available. If you can still feel your breath, if you can still feel the strength of those Tadasana legs underneath you. All right, regardless of where you've placed your right hand, you might choose now to add the lift of your left arm up. Stretch up like you did in Warrior 2. Turn your palm to face the, side edge of your mat. And then pull up through your left arm to come up. Inhale, bring your shoulders back over your hips. Bring your hands onto your hips. Let's work the other side. Turn your right leg in. Turn your left leg out. Line up your left heel and your right center arch. Breathe in with your hands on your hips. Breathe out, bend your left knee deeply. Push your left heel down, turn your left thigh out until the inseam of your leg lengthens. Breathe in, and as you exhale, stretch out through the bones of your arms. Take your gaze over your left hand. And keep your head centered over your shoulders. We're not going anywhere. Shoulders over your hips. Feel your feet on the floor. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, and then for Trikonasana, for triangle pose, bring your hands onto your hips. And let's try the transition a couple times. Watch your knee, push your left foot down and forward, and as your knee straightens, send your right hip up and your left hip in. Try it again. With your hands on your hips, bring your head and your shoulders back over your hips as you bend your knee, like Warrior 2. Press your left foot down and forward, send your hips back. And you might be here, or with your hand on your thigh, or with your hand on your shin. Breathe in, and if you're adding the lift of your arm, stretch out from your heart through your hand. And then push down into your feet. It might be useful to look at your feet again. Pull up through your right hand to come up. Bring your hands onto your hips. Turn your left leg in, and then heel toe your feet in and in and in until they come back under your hips again for Tadasana, for mountain pose. Push your feet down. Lift your heart up. Breathe in and breathe out. Cool. Thanks for joining me. One thing that you might choose to play with if you repeat these postures is if you felt off balance at all, you could work both of these poses all the way up against a wall. And if placing your hand on your leg feels like too much, then you could put maybe a chair seat underneath your hand instead of placing it on your thigh or your shin. You always got options. Thanks again for playing. I'll see you next time.